Well, I told you I'd be back, and I have one of my favorite books here called the Encyclopedia of Health, Psychological Disorders and Their Treatment by Solomon H. Schneider, MD, General Editor. And it's called Personality Disorders. Um, I have found so much about not only myself, but other people in my life in this book. And it's just not like they're pulling this shit out of their ass. Um, the people that actually contributed to this book, which it came out in 19. Let's see. Who, who cares? 1991. The general editors were actually a doctor, the medical director for California Children's Services, clinical professor, Department of Pediatrics and Family Medicine, and he was a former president of the Society for Adolescent Medicine. Solomon H. Schneider, MD, was a distinguished service professor of neuroscience, so I think he kind of knew what he was talking about. Pharmacology and former president, Society of Neuroscience. Consulting editors were Robert W. Blum, MD, Associate Professor, School of Public Health and Departments of Pediatrics. Charles E. Irwin, Jr., MD, Associate Professor of Pediatrics, Division of Adolescent Medicine. Lloyd L. Colby, PhD, um, Chief Office, School Health and Special Projects, Center for Health Promotions. Goes on and on. So basically, it has an introduction by C. Everett Koop, MD. He was the former Surgeon General of the U.S. But I'm not going to read that right now because I just want to get down real quick to what I feel is very important. And I'm just going to read a little chapter out of this book. Sorry, I've highlighted it. But if you look, it's got a little baby. And it says, from the moment a person is born, his or her personality begins to take shape. In infancy, childhood, and later in adolescence, the individual explores a multitude of behaviors. That was a good word. Many are rejected, but others, those that prove successful and satisfying, are repeated and eventually become part of a strong and predictable pattern that determines how that person perceives him or himself and reacts to the surrounding world. So these specific patterns of behavior are key factors in the development of a person's personality. Imagine that. So, but such deeply ingrained traits also underline personality disorders. Imagine that. A term psychiatrists and other mental health professionals use to describe behavior patterns that are inflexible and maladaptive, just don't go with the flow of things. That is, marked by poor adjustment to accepted norms. These patterns of behavior can result in emotional upheavals, ranging from depression and anxiety to that spark suicide, and they can cause distress, unhappiness, or even functional impairment for the person with the disorder. So you think you have it bad? If you live with us, try being us. Disorders of personality are so pervasive that their impact on society is often overlooked, which is so frustrating to me. That's for another video. Some of history's greatest and most notorious characters were driven by distorted personalities. C.S. Blumel, author of War, Politics, and Insanity, writes that the events of history and the affairs of politics often turn on personality disorders, but people's everyday lives are also often marred by personality disorders, either by having to deal with others with disorders or by having to deal with problems of their own disorders that they've created themselves. I mean, this is something that they struggle with every day. Traits such as right? Traits such as paranoia and experiencing delusions of persecution and feelings of suspiciousness, mistrust, and combativeness. Obsessiveness, which is having reoccurrent, persistent, unwanted thoughts or compulsion. Compulsiveness, being a perfectionist, rigid, stubborn, and indecisive. Um, Dependency, a reliance on others. I mean, hello, we have borderline personality disorder and we don't have a reliance on others. I'd like to meet you. Um, and narcissism, having exaggerated feelings of self importance, can be established very early in life. Imagine that. I mean, come on. Get with the program, people. Um, in effect, these maladaptive patterns are programmed into personality and may persist sometimes with disastrous results. Yes, you are witnessing one of those disastrous results. For you see, I have a story to tell, and I'm not going to be done for a while. Throughout adult life, sometimes with disastrous results throughout adult life, most healthy personalities are built on positive, solid foundations. Disorder personalities are built on shaky, negative foundations, or no foundations at all, because they were knocked out from beneath them when they were but wee children. Shame on you. That's all I gotta say. We'll go back to this book another day. There's a lot more entries. I'm tired and I'm gonna go spend some time with my nephew. He's my 8-year-old autistic nephew Kyle, and I'm just gonna do something with him. Bye. TLC.